Seoul.
6:14 a.m. Ji-Hyun was asleep. Then she wasn't. Dorothy, the man has excellent posture. Posture is not a qualification. Posture is character. Character is references. Which I have. Which you don't. Ji-Hyun opened one eye. She stared at the ceiling. The ceiling did not explain anything. She opened the other eye. The shouting continued. She had two choices. Ignore it and pretend she lived alone. Or go investigate and wish she did. She got up. She shuffled toward the kitchen. She stopped in the doorway. Halmoni was at the table. In her morning robe, with a tablet propped against the fruit bowl. On the screen of the tablet, wearing her church housecoat at 6 in the morning like she had somewhere important to be, was Dorothy Washington. Both women were pointing at their screens. Both were talking. Neither was listening. Neither appeared to require listening. Ji-Hyun stood there, half asleep, fully confused. Why, she said, to anyone, to no one, is this happening? Halmoni pointed at her without turning around. Translate. It's 6 in the morning. I know what time it is. I don't have coffee. Translate first. Coffee after. On the screen, Grandma Duth spotted Ji-Hyun and leaned forward with the energy of a woman who had been waiting for exactly this reinforcement. Oh, good. Ask her why she sent me that photograph. Ji-Hyun looked at Halmoni. Why did you send her a photograph? Halmoni lifted her teacup.
Set it down.
Because the man is handsome. Ji-Hyun stood very still. What man? Halmoni picked up the tea again.
Took a slow sip. Set it down again.
The husband candidate. Ji-Hyun's brain stopped. Just completely stopped. Like a phone that had received too many notifications at once and needed a moment to catch up.
Whose husband candidate? She said.
She turned very slowly toward the screen. Grandma Duth was already nodding. That's what I said. Ji-Hyun looked at Halmoni. Then at the screen. Then at Halmoni again.
Whose
husband
candidate?
Both grandmothers answered at exactly the same time. 2 languages. 1 name. Zara's. Ji-Hyun sat down on the kitchen floor. Not a chair. The floor. She just went down, right there on the cold tiles at 6:14 in the morning, and decided that the floor was where she needed to be. Before you go any further, drop your location and the time you're watching this right now in the comments.
Right now.
2 grandmothers have been running a cross-continental husband-finding operation since October, and Zara doesn't know a single thing about it. Like this video. Share it. Subscribe to this channel because Halmoni Park Soonja and Dorothy Washington are no longer rivals. They are a coalition. And nobody is safe. We're going. Ji-Hyun looked up from the floor. How long? She said. Halmoni looked down at her calmly. Since October. It is February. Yes. You have been doing this since October. We have been researching since October. The evaluation phase was November. Finalization was January. Ji-Hyun pointed at her. There are notebooks. Halmoni said nothing. There are notebooks. Ji-Hyun said again. They are organizational tools. They are notebooks. Ji-Hyun. Do they have tabs? Silence. Halmoni. Do the notebooks have tabs? Color-coded tabs are more efficient. Ji-Hyun put her face on the floor. Just lay down completely. Face on the kitchen tiles. Arms at her sides. From the screen, Grandma Duth watched this. Is she all right? She asked. She is processing, Halmoni said. She does this. When things are a lot, yes. I lie down too sometimes, Grandma said supportively. Thank you, Dorothy. Ji-Hyun from the floor. There are 2 of you with notebooks. My system and Dorothy's system are different, Halmoni said. But they are both systems. Yes. For finding Zara a husband. For helping Zara find the right. Without asking Zara. She would have resisted. She has that right. Ji-Hyun. She is a grown woman. Who eats cereal for dinner? Ji-Hyun stopped. What does cereal have to do with? A woman eating cereal for dinner at 26 is a woman who needs someone cooking beside her in the kitchen, Grandma Duth said from the screen, with the calm authority of someone delivering not an opinion but a fact. Ji-Hyun slowly sat back up. She looked at the screen. She looked at Halmoni. Are you going to tell me, she said carefully, that the cereal is why you started the notebooks? Halmoni reached over and slid the notebook toward her. Ji-Hyun looked at it. It was a proper notebook.
Thick.
Navy blue. Tabs sticking out from the side in 4 different colors. Yellow.
Green. Pink.
Orange. She opened to the first page. At the top, in Halmoni's precise handwriting, were 3 words. Zara's future. Urgent. Ji-Hyun closed the notebook. She put it down. She looked at the ceiling. Does Uncle Sung-jin know? She said. He found out in November, Halmoni said. And he didn't tell me? He tried. When? He says he practiced the conversation for 2 days. Then he started it, and I came into the room. Ji-Hyun stared. He was scared of you. Most people are a little scared of me, Halmoni said. It's not a bad thing. It is a very bad thing in this context. Ji-Hyun, sit at the table. I was on the floor. That's why I said sit at the table. Ji-Hyun got up. She sat at the table. She opened the notebook again. Tab 1 yellow. Labeled candidates. Tab 2 green. Labeled evaluation. Tab 3 pink. Labeled eliminated. Tab 4 orange. Labeled final selection. Ji-Hyun turned to the pink tab. She looked at the eliminated section. 4 names, with small notes beside each. She read the notes. Unclear direction. Good heart. Bad timing. Mother is too involved. And the last one. Just 1 word.
No.
Ji-Hyun looked up. Someone was eliminated with just the word no. He was not right, Halmoni said simply. You wrote no. It said everything that needed to be said. Did you write it once, or? She looked at the page again. The word no, written twice. You wrote it twice, Ji-Hyun said. For clarity. From the screen, Grandma Duff leaned in. What does it say? Ji-Hyun looked at her. Someone was eliminated with the word no, written twice. Grandma Duff nodded approvingly. I also eliminated 2. Mine are in the back of my folder with a line through them. You have a folder. Everyone needs a system. Grandma Duff, Ji-Hyun said. You have a folder. An organizational folder. Yes. With eliminated candidates. Past candidates. The word eliminated feels harsh. The word husband candidate also feels harsh, and you use that freely. That's different. How is that? Because one is a process term and one is an outcome term, and the process was necessary. The process was not necessary. Who is in the final section? Grandma Duff asked, steering back. Ji-Hyun looked at the orange tab. She opened it. 2 names. Kevin Park and David. Kevin, Halmoni said, before Ji-Hyun could speak. Korean American.
Doctor.
Excellent. Posture, Ji-Hyun said. You read ahead. I can see the notes from here. His posture is mentioned 3 times. I can count 3 times because it warranted 3 mentions. Most people mention posture once, Halmoni. Most people don't pay enough attention. And David, Ji-Hyun said, turning to the screen. Grandma Duff sat up straighter. David, she said, with the weight of a woman introducing someone important. 31. Runs his own catering company. Church family. Good with people.
Warm.
And before you ask, she reached off screen and came back with a folder. References. Ji-Hyun stared at the folder. References. 3 character. 1 professional. You collected reference letters. Quality assurance. For a person. For an important position. Grandma Duff. He is not applying for a job. He is applying, Grandma Duff said with great dignity, for the most important role in my granddaughter's life. I would argue that warrants more scrutiny than a job. Ji-Hyun put both hands flat on the table. She took a breath. She looked at Halmoni. She looked at the screen. I want you both to hear me say this clearly, she said. What you're doing is insane. It is organized, thorough, and completely insane. Zara is a grown woman who is fully capable of. She ate cereal for dinner, both grandmothers said. At the same time. Different languages. Same sentence. Ji-Hyun closed her eyes. She sat there for a moment. Then she stood up. I'm making coffee, she said. Translate first, Halmoni said. I need coffee to translate. Quickly. Ji-Hyun went to the coffee pot. She made coffee. She stood at the counter and drank half of it. Then she turned back to the table.
Fine, she said.
I will translate. But I want it on record that I disagree with everything happening in this kitchen. Noted, Halmoni said. Noted. Grandma Duth echoed from the screen. It is noted and completely ignored, Ji-Hyun said. Also noted, Halmoni said. Ji-Hyun sat back down. She picked up the notebook. She opened to the evaluation section. And she started translating. For the next 22 minutes. In Atlanta, Zara Kim was having a peaceful morning. She had made her coffee correctly on the first attempt. The apartment was quiet. The sun was hitting the window at just the right angle. She had nowhere to be until 10. Everything was fine. Her phone buzzed. Grandma Duth, you should be thinking about your future. Zara looked at this. She put the phone face down. She picked up her coffee. The second text arrived before she finished the sip. Grandma Duth. Not in a bad way. Just generally. As a concept. The third text arrived from Sungjin. Good morning. Everything is normal. Zara put the coffee down. She stared at that text. Everything is normal. In 3 years of knowing Sungjin, she had never once received a message that said everything is normal. She typed back. What's happening? Sungjin. Nothing specific. Zara. Uncle Sungjin. Sungjin. Several small things. Zara. What small things? Sungjin. I am still assessing the size. Zara. Uncle. Sungjin. Ji-Hyun will explain. Zara. Put Jae-Hyun on. Sungjin. She is busy. With what? Sungjin. Translating. Zara. Translating what? Sungjin did not respond. The fourth message arrived. Ji-Hyun. 2 words. I'm sorry. Zara called her. 1 ring. Ji-Hyun answered immediately. I was about to call you. What is happening? Okay. So. Ji-Hyun. I need you to sit down. I'm sitting. Good. What is happening? Ji-Hyun took a breath. There are notebooks. What kind of notebooks? The kind with tabs. Zara looked at her coffee. Color-coded tabs. Ji-Hyun added. Ji-Hyun. Yes. Are these notebooks about me? They are about your future. My future. More specifically about who should be in it. Who should be in it? As a partner. Zara stood up. They made lists. They made very organized lists. Both of them. Both of them. They are trying to find me a husband. They have been trying. Ji-Hyun said carefully since October. The apartment went completely quiet. October, Zara said. October 17th is the first notebook entry. I checked. It is February. I know. They have been doing this for 4 months. While coordinating across 2 continents, yes. The level of international collaboration involved is actually. Don't. I wasn't going to say impressive. You were. I was, but I stopped myself. Zara walked to her window and stared out at Atlanta. How many candidates, she said. Currently active? 2 finalists. But there was an elimination round. Zara closed her eyes. How many were eliminated? 4. 4 people were screened out. Before the finalists, yes. Did anyone tell the eliminated people they were eliminated? I don't believe they know they were candidates in the first place. They don't know. Nobody knows they were candidates, Zara. That's how Halmoni described the process. Low visibility. High efficiency. Zara turned away from the window. She sat back down. She picked up her coffee. She put it back down. Tell me about the finalists, she said. Grandma Duth's candidate is named David. What does he do? Catering. A caterer. He runs the company. He doesn't just cater. He owns it. She picked a man based on catering. She attended 2 events where his company catered the food. She scored both events. She scored them. Out of 10, both above 8. She noted that she does not give 8s easily. She graded a man's catering business. In her notebook, under a section called Evidence of Standards. Ji-Hyun. Yes. She has a section. And references. Zara stopped. References. 3 personal, 1 professional. Written references. From people who know him. She collected written references for a man she wants to introduce to me. She called it quality assurance. Quality assurance. For an important role. He's not applying for a...
She's aware.
She feels the position warrants the scrutiny anyway. Zara stared at the ceiling for a long moment. Kevin Park. Ji-Hyun continued. Halmoni's. Korean-American.
Doctor.
Volunteers on weekends. Speaks Korean. Respectful to elders. Good family. And Ji-Hyun said, his posture is mentioned 3 times. His posture. 3 separate entries. In different sections. What does it say? Ji-Hyun paused. The sound of pages. First entry. Excellent posture. Okay. Second entry. Posture reflects character. Ji-Hyun. Third entry. Another pause. The way a man stands tells you everything about the way he will stand by you. The apartment was very still. Halmoni wrote that, Zara said. In the notebook. Park Soon-ja, who once described Zara's father's entire childhood in 1 sentence, wrote a full romantic observation about a man's spine. Yes. Zara started laughing.
She tried not to.
She failed completely. Stop, Ji-Hyun said. I can't. Don't laugh at the notebook. The man's posture. She means it sincerely. I know she means it sincerely, that's why it's funny. Zara. She evaluated his skeleton. She evaluated his character as reflected by his skeleton. There is a distinction.
Zara was fully laughing now.
Ji-Hyun waited. She tried not to smile. She failed slightly. Are they still arguing? Zara finally asked. They have been arguing about whose candidate is superior since I woke up. Not about whether any of this is okay. That question was settled before I got involved. What's the argument about? Grandma Duth says warmth matters more than anything. Halmoni says character is visible from across a room and posture is how you see it. They have been going in circles. Who's winning? Nobody wins with these 2, Ji-Hyun said. They just reach agreements and call them victories. Zara sat back in her chair. What did you tell them? I told them we are adults with full autonomy over our own lives. What did they say? They laughed. They laughed at my autonomy. Our autonomy. I'm in the notebook too. Zara sat up. What? Section 4. Smaller. But present. What does it say about you? It says Ji-Hyun should not spend her whole life translating other people's feelings.
A pause.
She wrote it in September. Before she even started your section. Like a note to herself. Zara went quiet. Ji-Hyun. Don't. That's, actually, don't make it sweet. I need to be annoyed right now. Okay. I'm choosing annoyance. Okay. It's a survival strategy. I understand completely. A pause. Andre arrives in 2 weeks, Zara said. Ji-Hyun went very still on the other end. Why did you say that? She said. No reason. Zara. I'm just noting his arrival timeline. Why are you noting it in the context of this conversation? I'm noting it in the context of the general situation. The general situation involving 2 grandmothers with too much organizational energy. Who might redirect that energy if something new appeared? Something new. Or someone. Zara Kim. I'm not saying anything. You're saying something. I'm making an observation. About Andre. About timing. About Andre's timing. Ji-Hyun. I have to go, Ji-Hyun said. You don't have to. I have to go translate a matchmaking argument at 6:30 in the morning.
Goodbye.
She hung up. In Seoul, Halmoni looked at Ji-Hyun as she came back to the table.
Well?
Grandma Duth asked from the screen. She knows, Ji-Hyun said. How did she take it? She laughed. Grandma Duth looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked at Grandma Duth. She laughed. Grandma Duth repeated. Yes. Not upset. She was upset. Then she laughed. That's Zara, Grandma Duth said, satisfied. That is, Halmoni agreed. Ji-Hyun looked between them. I want you both to know, she said, that I am participating in this translation under protest. Noted. Both said at the same time. It is noted and ignored, Ji-Hyun said. Also noted, Halmoni said pleasantly. Ji-Hyun picked up the notebook. She put on her translator face. The face she wore when she had accepted a situation was happening, and her job was to make it happen in 2 languages instead of 1.
Fine, she said.
Let's talk about the candidates. And the argument started again. Grandma Duth went first. David is warm.
You feel it when he enters a room.
His references confirm it. 3 separate people used the word warm without being asked. Ji-Hyun translated. Halmoni went next. Kevin is steady. A woman doesn't need warm. She needs steady. Warm runs out. Steady doesn't. Ji-Hyun translated. Grandma Duth. Steady without warm is a wall. Nobody wants to live with a wall. Halmoni. Warm without steady is a candle. Beautiful but gone. Ji-Hyun translated both. Then she looked at them. That was almost poetic, she said. We've had time to develop the arguments, Grandma Duth said. Since October, Ji-Hyun said. Since October, Grandma Duth confirmed, with zero shame. Halmoni opened her notebook. She turned to the evaluation section. Kevin's clinic. Saturdays. 6 hours each week. Unpaid. Ji-Hyun translated. Grandma Duth reached for her folder. David cooked for his aunt's entire church when they had a crisis. Full meal. 2 days' notice. He didn't tell anyone. They found out from the aunt. Ji-Hyun translated. Halmoni looked at this information. She was quiet for a moment. He didn't mention it himself, she said. The aunt told me. He helped and didn't talk about it.
No.
She had to find out through channels. Halmoni wrote something in the notebook. In the David section, Grandma Duth watched the writing happening on the screen with the satisfaction of a woman watching her argument land. What are you writing? Grandma Duth asked. Ji-Hyun translated. Halmoni, I'm noting that he is quiet about good things. That is worth something. Grandma Duth, Kevin's posture still isn't a reference. Kevin's posture is better than a reference. A reference tells you what people want you to think. Posture tells you what a person thinks of themselves when nobody is watching. Halmoni responded. Grandma Duth went quiet. Halmoni noted the quiet. It was the same quiet as when someone had made a point that the other person couldn't immediately dismantle. That's actually, Grandma Duth started. Yes, Halmoni said before the sentence finished. I was going to say, I know what you were going to say. How do you know? Because I would have said it if I'd thought of it first. Grandma Duth laughed. A real one. From 7,000 miles away. At 6:43 in the morning Seoul time. Ji-Hyun looked at them. She looked at the 2 notebooks. She looked at the folder. She looked at the color-coded tabs. I have one question, she said. Both grandmothers looked at her. Who decides? At the end, when the arguments are done, who decides which one Zara meets first? They both opened their mouths. And before either of you answer, Ji-Hyun said, I want to gently point out that Zara should probably be part of this decision, considering it is her life.
Silence.
She'll be part of the meeting. Grandma Duth responded sharply. That's not the same as the decision. Then Halmoni said she will make her own choice after the introduction. So, she doesn't get to decide whether to be introduced. We're just opening doors. Grandma Duth said. You're building the doors and then walking her to them. Ji-Hyun responded. Somebody has to build the doors. Halmoni said. Ji-Hyun stared at her. That was almost reasonable, she said. Most things I say are reasonable, Halmoni said. And yet here we are. Ji-Hyun closed the notebook. She put it back in the center of the table. She stood up. I'm going to take a shower, she said. I'm going to eat breakfast. I'm going to call Zara back and apologize for being the messenger in this situation. You're a wonderful translator, Grandma Duth said warmly. That is not the comfort you think it is. Ji-Hyun, Halmoni said.
What?
Check section 4 again before you go. Ji-Hyun paused. She looked at the notebook. She thought about what section 4 said. Ji-Hyun should not spend her whole life translating other people's feelings. At some point she should have feelings that belong entirely to herself. She looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked back with the expression she used when she had said what she had to say and was done explaining it. The shower, Ji-Hyun said. Yes, Halmoni said. Ji-Hyun went to take her shower. She did not think about Section 4. She definitely did not think about the fact that Andre was arriving in 2 weeks. She thought about the shower. Only the shower. She was a professional. 2 days later, the notebooks were still active. The competition was still running. And Grandma Duth, who is not a patient woman by nature but was a strategic one, had decided to take a different approach. She called Miss Patricia. Tell me everything you know about the community center event Thursday. It's a volunteer coordination day. Set up mostly. Who's coming? The usual people. Diane's bringing Zara. Grandma Duth wrote something down. Who else? Some new volunteers. Marcus from the... Who is Marcus? Miss Patricia paused. An architect. He's been helping with the space planning on the renovation project. Very capable. Capable how? He shows up when he says he will. He's good with problem solving. He doesn't need to be managed. Grandma Duth wrote something else down. Not in the notebook. Just on a notepad. A small note. I might stop by Thursday, she said. Thought you might, Miss Patricia said. I'm just in the area. You're always just in the area when something's worth seeing. I don't know what you mean. I know you don't, Miss Patricia said. Thursday arrived. Zara showed up at the community center at 2 o'clock with no agenda except chairs. She had been thinking about chairs. That was the task. Not about David or Kevin. Not about notebooks. Not about any of it. Just chairs. The room was halfway set up when she arrived. Tables in progress. Volunteers scattered across the space doing different things. Miss Patricia coordinating everything from the center with the calm efficiency of an air traffic controller. Zara found the chair pile. She started working. A few minutes in, someone came out of the storage room with a folding table and set it down to assess the angle. He turned it slightly, turned it back, put it exactly where it needed to go, and left it there like it had always been meant to be there. He looked up. I need a second person for the long table in the back, he said. Not to Zara, specifically. To the room. I can help, Zara said. They went and got the long table. They moved it. They set it down. Thanks, he said.
Sure, she said.
That was it. That was the entire first moment. A table. A thanks. A sure. Nothing. She went back to the chairs. He went back to the storage room. For 20 minutes, they were 2 people doing different jobs in the same room, and the only thing notable about either of them was that they were both doing their jobs well, without making a production of it. Then she dropped the clipboard. She wasn't paying attention. It slipped.
Fell.
He was crouching nearby dealing with a cable situation, and he picked it up and held it out without standing fully. Here. Thanks. He looked at the clipboard, then at her. You're Diane's daughter?
Yeah.
She mentioned you. Hopefully good things. She said you did the winter event flyer. Last year, yeah. I looked at that thing for a long time, he said. Not performing it. Just saying it the way you say things that are true. The way the colors were layered. The eye went exactly where the information was, in exactly the right order. Zara looked at him. You noticed that, she said. I notice how people organize visual information. Architect thing. That's the same problem I'm solving, Zara said. Just flat.
Right.
I'm solving it in space. You're solving it on a page. Same question though. Where does the eye go first? Where should it go, he said. And does it actually go there? Those are different questions.
Usually, she said.
He smiled. She noticed the smile. She did not make a note about it. Miss Patricia appeared. Marcus, storage room. Second shelf. Extension cords.
He went. Zara.
Second window. She went. Miss Patricia stood in the center of the room. She looked at the storage room door. She looked at the second window. She pulled out her phone. She typed one message to Grandma Duth. You need to see this. Grandma Duth walked through the door 9 minutes later. She found Diane first. Where, she said. Diane nodded toward the far end of the room. Grandma Duth looked. Marcus was back from the storage room with 2 extension cords. He walked toward Zara. Not because he had a reason to, because she was near the table he was heading to. Found the second shelf ones, he said. Were they good? Better than the first shelf ones. Is that common? In storage rooms?
Consistently.
The good stuff is always at the back.
Why?
Because people who know what they have don't put it where people can easily take it.
Zara looked at him.
That's either a storage philosophy or a life philosophy, she said. Probably both, he said. She laughed. Not a polite laugh. A real one. Fast and clean and completely unmanaged. Grandma Duth, from across the room, went very still. She looked at Diane. Diane was already looking at her. They held eye contact for 3 full seconds. No words. They didn't need words. Grandma Duth reached into her bag. She took out her phone. She called Sung-Jin. Sung-Jin. Mrs. Washington, he said, immediately careful. Get Ji-Hyun. She's.
Now.
Is something wrong? Something is very right, Grandma Duth said, watching Zara and Marcus move toward the same table from different directions to straighten it without discussing it. Get Ji-Hyun. Ji-Hyun. What happened? Tell Halmoni to close the notebook. Silence. Close it. Tell her we're pausing. What happened? Something walked in. What's something? The natural kind. Mrs. Washington. Tell her. She'll understand. Ji-Hyun translated. Halmoni's response came back in seconds. She says, describe him. Tell her, tall. Good with his hands. Make Zara laugh at a joke about storage rooms. Ji-Hyun translated. Halmoni went quiet. Then she asked one question. She wants to know if Zara's laugh was real or polite. Grandma Duth watched Zara across the room, still smiling at something Marcus had just said. Real, she said. The one that gets out before she can stop it. Ji-Hyun translated. Halmoni's response was 4 words. She says, Ji-Hyun said slowly, close the notebook. Grandma Duth smiled. She reached into her bag. She found the organizational folder. She did not throw it away. She was not wasteful. She simply placed it at the very bottom, under everything else. And she sat down in a chair by the door. And she watched. Because watching was how you saw things clearly. And she had just seen something very clearly. David's references could wait. Kevin's posture could wait. Everything could wait. Because what she was watching right now had no tab for it. No section. No notebook category. It had just walked in with extension cords and a joke about storage rooms. And it was already working. The notebook was closed on a Thursday. Nobody told David. Nobody told Kevin Park and his exceptional posture. Nobody told the 3 character references Grandma Duth had contacted, who had taken time out of their lives to write thoughtful letters about a man who is now in the secondary pile because a woman named Zara Kim had laughed at a storage room joke. Ji-Hyun found out Friday morning. She called Grandma Duth. Tell me you didn't. Didn't what? Close the notebook. The notebook is paused. You said close. Paused is more accurate. Mrs. Washington. Ji-Hyun. I spent 6 weeks translating notebook entries between you and Halmoni. And we appreciate that. 6 weeks. Your Korean English skills were invaluable. The references. The evaluation section. The color-coded tabs. I sat at that kitchen table for 6 weeks. And the work was excellent. And now you've abandoned all of it because Zara laughed at a storage room joke. It wasn't just the joke, Grandma Duth said. What else was there? The way she laughed. Before she could stop it. Ji-Hyun went quiet. Because she knew that laugh. She'd heard it twice in Seoul and once in Atlanta, and it was not a laugh Zara gave to just anyone. That doesn't mean anything, Ji-Hyun said. That means everything, Grandma Duth said. Ji-Hyun sat down. Does Halmoni know? I told her last night. What did she say? Grandma Duth paused. She said she needed to see him first. She needed to see him. She doesn't make decisions without visual confirmation. You know this. He lives in Atlanta. She lives in Seoul. How is she going to? She asked if there was going to be another community center event. Ji-Hyun stared at nothing. She's going to get on a video call, Ji-Hyun said slowly. She asked if Sung-Jin could set up the camera angle. She wants Sung-jin to position a camera so she can observe a man from Seoul. She said observe.
Not spy.
That's spying. It's long-distance assessment. It is international surveillance. Ji-Hyun. She's going to spy on this man from another continent. She just wants to see him before she officially closes the notebook. The notebook she already told you she agreed to close. She agreed in principle. She needs visual confirmation to finalize. Ji-Hyun pressed both hands flat on the table and breathed.
Fine, she said.
Thank you. But I want it noted that I have serious concerns about this entire process. Your concerns are always noted, and ignored, and appreciated. Grandma Duth corrected warmly. Ji-Hyun hung up. She looked at the closed notebook on the kitchen table. 4 months. 4 colors of tabs. 2 finalists. And a woman across the world had killed the whole thing with a storage room joke. Ji-Hyun picked up the notebook. She looked at it. She put it back down. She opened it to the David section. She looked at the reference letters. She turned to the Kevin section. She looked at the posture notes. 3 separate entries. She closed it again. She put it in the kitchen drawer. She made coffee. She stared at the wall. Sam-kun, she called. Sung-jin appeared in the doorway. Yes. Grandma Duth wants you to set up a camera angle at the next community center event so Halmoni can assess Marcus from Seoul. Sung-jin looked at her.
No.
She's going to ask you herself. Then she can't hear no from me directly. Sam-kun. Ji-Hyun. I am not setting up international surveillance equipment for a matchmaking operation. It's just a phone. That is still surveillance. Halmoni will ask you. Let her ask. His phone buzzed. He looked at it. He looked at Ji-Hyun. It's Halmoni, he said. Set up the angle. Ji-Hyun said. He answered. 3 minutes later, he was researching camera placement techniques. The community center event was the following Tuesday. Sung-jin's friend set up the phone at an angle on the table near the door. He covered the camera situation by pretending to video call his friend. His friend, who had been roped into this by 4 minutes of explanation he did not ask for, sat on the other end of the call in Atlantis saying nothing while Halmoni took the phone. Halmoni watched the screen. She waited. Ji-Hyun, standing next to Sung-jin with coffee, whispered. This is unhinged. It was always unhinged, he whispered back. We just have a new target now. Across the room, Marcus was helping rearrange the small stage area with 2 other volunteers. He assessed the space first, then moved things. Then moved one thing back because the first position was actually better. Nobody asked him to do any of this. He just did it. From the phone screen, Halmoni watched. She said nothing. Then she said, he checked before he moved. Ji-Hyun translated quietly. He looked at the full space before touching anything. Yes, Halmoni. That is not common. In men? In anyone. Across the room, Zara appeared with her own folding chair. She looked at the stage area. Marcus pointed to the left side and she immediately understood what he meant and placed the chair exactly where it needed to go without a second instruction. From the phone, 1 word from Halmoni. Ji-Hyun waited. What did she say?
Sung-jin asked.
Ji-Hyun looked at the phone. She looked at the room. She said close the notebook, she said. Sung-jin nodded. Officially? Officially. David and Kevin? Secondary pile. Sung-jin pulled out his own small notebook. Ji-Hyun stared at it. Why do you have a notebook? Observation journal. You have an observation journal. It's different from their notebooks. How is IT? Mine doesn't have tabs, he said and wrote something down. Ji-Hyun stared at him. What did you just write? 11:47 a.m. Halmoni officially approves. Stage confirmed. You're documenting this. Someone should keep records. I just closed a notebook. Yours was about candidates. Mine is about the situation.
He closed it calmly.
They are different things. They are the same insane thing. Different tabs, he said. Ji-Hyun turned away. She looked at the ceiling. She looked at the room. She looked at Zara and Marcus both trying to solve the same logistics problem from opposite ends of a table and somehow arriving at the same solution simultaneously. She looked at Sung-jin's notebook. She took a breath. She made a decision.
She was not getting involved.
She was a translator.
She translated things. She did not orchestrate things.
She did not keep observation journals. She was a professional. She was absolutely not involved. Andre arrived on a Saturday.
2 suitcases.
His own car at the airport. He had already eaten on the plane, which he mentioned twice in the first text he sent Zara from the arrivals hall, which was his way of communicating that he was prepared and independent and did not require management. Zara met him at her apartment. He came through the door, dropped both bags, looked around the apartment and said, "Same couch." "Same couch," she confirmed. "You said you were going to replace it." "I am." "You've been saying that. I mean it more each time." He sat on the couch. It made the sound it always made. "Still comfortable though," he said. "That's the problem." Andre was Zara's closest friend from college. They had known each other for 8 years, which was long enough that they had stopped performing friendship and just did it. He showed up before you asked. He left after things were handled. He had a quality of noticing the specific thing that needed noticing and never the wrong thing.
He was also funny.
Not in the way that required setup. Just continuously, accidentally, consistently. He looked around the apartment. "Who are all these people?" he asked, looking at the framed photos on the shelf. "Family. New ones. The ones from Seoul." He stood up and looked closer. He found the photo of Halmoni and Zara from the Seoul visit. The one Ji-Hyun had taken without either of them noticing. "This is the grandmother who reorganized the shelf," he said. "She reorganized the shelf in Seoul too. Different shelf. She has a type. She has a system. Same thing." He looked at the photo a moment longer. "She looks like someone who wins arguments without raising her voice. She wins arguments without finishing sentences sometimes. Terrifying. Very." He moved to the next photo. Grandma Duth, church hat at full operational capacity at what appeared to be a family event. "This one," Andre said, "looks like she invented raising her voice." "She didn't invent it. She perfected it. There's a hat. There's always a hat. How big does the hat get? It scales with occasion." "What's the biggest occasion hat?"
Zara thought about it.
"We're about to find out," she said. "Dad gets here in 3 weeks." Andre turned around. "Your dad?" "My dad." He looked at her, not performing anything, just looking at her the way he looked at her when something was significant, and he didn't want to make it smaller by being casual about it. "You good," he said.
"Getting there," she said.
"That's good enough." She nodded. He sat back on the couch. "So, who else is coming?" he said. "Walk me through it." "Halmoni, Ji-Hyun, Sungjin. All from Seoul." "All from Seoul. And Grandma Duth is here. And Grandma Duth is here. And your mom. And my mom. And the church ladies." "The church ladies have already been briefed. Gerald has been briefed since October apparently." Andre stared at her. "Gerald knew before you?" "Gerald knows everything. That's what Gerald does." Andre leaned back. "Okay," he said. "This is going to be a situation. It is going to be a very specific type of situation. The kind where multiple grandmothers are in the same location. With plans. Do the plans overlap? The plans are now the same plan." "That sounds worse." "It is significantly worse." Andre nodded. He processed this. "Do they know about me?" he asked. "Grandma Duth knows you're coming." "Does Halmoni?"
Zara thought about this.
"Halmoni knows everything eventually," she said. "That's not a no. That's not a no." Andre looked at the photos again. The 2 grandmothers on their respective shelves. He had not met either of them. He had heard enough stories that he felt he had, which, as Zara had once pointed out, was not the same thing. "When does Ji-Hyun get here?" he asked. Zara looked at him.
"Thursday," she said.
"Cool," he said. He said it very casually, very normally. Just cool. Zara watched him say it. She noted the casual. She did not say anything about the casual.
"Cool," she said back.
Ji-Hyun arrived Thursday, with Sungjin and Halmoni and 4 suitcases between 3 people, which was an improvement on previous trips, but still required the full available trunk space of the car Zara had borrowed from Diane. The airport. The arrivals hall. Zara, with a sign. Not a big sign. A normal sign. She had learned from experience. Ji-Hyun came through the doors first. She had the look she always had at the end of a long international flight, which was the look of a woman who had been running 2 tracks in her brain for 14 hours and needed both to stop briefly. She saw Zara and walked straight toward her. No dramatic moment. No ceremony. Just walked straight at her and hugged her before she finished the last step. "I'm here," Ji-Hyun said. "You're here," Zara said. "I've been on a plane next to Sungjin for 14 hours. Was it bad?" "He made me watch a documentary about Korean barbecue techniques." "How was it?" "I learned things I didn't need to learn." "Like what?" "Like why the smoke direction matters." For 45 minutes. About smoke direction. Uncle Sungjin is passionate. Sam-kun is too passionate. About too many things. Sungjin appeared through the doors behind her. He had both his bags and one of Halmoni's. He saw Zara and nodded. "Good flight," Zara said. "Good flight," he said. Ji-Hyun said you showed her barbecue documentary. It was educational. She said 45 minutes about smoke. Smoke direction is the difference between good and exceptional. Uncle Sungjin.
Zara.
It matters. Then Halmoni came through. Same as always. Perfect posture. Taking in the arrivals hall with the specific attention of someone returning to a place they have established opinions about. She saw Zara. She walked to her. Both hands on Zara's face. The same gesture as Seoul. The same eyes. Same inventory. Then she nodded once. Satisfied.
She said something.
Ji-Hyun translated without thinking. She says you look rested. I've been sleeping better, Zara said. Halmoni said something else. She says good. You needed it. Then Halmoni looked past Zara. Her eyes moved to the area behind the arrivals waiting zone. Specifically to the area where Andre was standing. He had come with Zara. Because he was that kind of person. He was holding one of those recycled tote bags that he always carried everywhere for reasons he had never fully explained. Halmoni looked at him. He looked at her. He was not intimidated. He was also not unaware. He gave a small, respectful nod. Halmoni received this. She looked at him for exactly 3 seconds. Then she looked at Ji-Hyun. Something passed across her face.
Quick. Gone. But there.
Ji-Hyun had been watching Halmoni's face for 26 years. She caught it. She looked away immediately. She was not going to think about what that expression meant. She was a professional. She started managing the luggage situation. The introduction happened in the arrivals hall because Zara had not planned the introductions and there was no controlled environment for them. Andre, this is Ji-Hyun. Ji-Hyun, Andre. Andre extended his hand. Ji-Hyun shook it. Zara's told me about you, he said. She's told me about you, Ji-Hyun said. Good things. Mostly. He smiled. Mostly again. Ji-Hyun looked at the luggage cart. We should move, she said. Right, he said. They moved. That was it. 6 sentences. A handshake. And Sungjin, who had been standing 3 feet away with his observation notebook already open, wrote something down. Ji-Hyun saw him. What are you writing? She said. Nothing. Sam-kun. Arrivals hall. 14 seconds. What? The introduction. 14 seconds. Why are you timing? I'm documenting, he said. Documenting what? The situation. There is no situation. Ji-Hyun. There is absolutely no situation. I met a person. People meet people. That is what happens in arrivals halls. You said mostly, Sungjin said. Ji-Hyun stopped. What? He said good things, I hope. You said mostly. He wrote something. Twice now. It's a phrase. It's a choice. Sungjin, I am going to take that notebook. You can try, he said, and put it in his jacket pocket. Ji-Hyun grabbed the luggage cart. She pushed it toward the exit. She did not look at Andre. She did not look at Sungjin. She did not look at Halmoni, who was walking beside her with the composure of a woman who had noted several things and was going to note none of them out loud. She looked at the exit doors. She walked through them. She was a professional. The car was crowded on the way back because 4 people and 4 suitcases in one car was always going to produce logistics. Sung-jin got the front seat because of his legs. Halmoni got the window seat in the back because she always took the window, which left Ji-Hyun and Andre in the middle, directly next to each other. For 40 minutes. Ji-Hyun looked straight ahead. Andre looked out the window. What did you think? Hot. It gets worse. I know. I was here in August. Why were you here in August? Conference was in August. Why was the conference in? Nobody asked us, he said. Ji-Hyun looked out the window. She was not laughing. She was looking at the Atlanta landscape moving past them with professional interest. It was a very interesting landscape. Very absorbing. She was absorbed. Ji-Hyun, first time in Atlanta? Andre asked. Second trip. What do you think? Hot. Andre looked at her. In agreement, he said. Good, she said. She looked back at the landscape. Andre looked at the landscape too. The trees are different here, he said. Then Seoul. Ji-Hyun looked at the trees. Yes, she said. More spread out. Everything is more spread out. It's different from Seoul. Very different. Do you like it? Ji-Hyun thought about it honestly. I like that it's quiet in a different way. Seoul is quiet when it stops. Atlanta is quiet underneath everything. Andre looked at her. Underneath everything, he repeated. Like there's space around the noise. She stopped herself. That's not a clear description. No, I understood it, he said. Did you? Yeah. Seoul's silence is the absence of noise. Atlanta's silence is something that exists even when the noise is there. Ji-Hyun looked at him. Yes, she said. That's it. Architect thing, he said. I think about how space sounds. I think about how language sounds in different spaces, she said. Same problem. From the front, Zara looked at the road. She did not smile. She was just driving. She was paying attention to the road. Very carefully. In the front seat beside her, Sung-jin had the observation notebook open on his knee. He wrote something. He underlined it. He closed the notebook. What did you write? Zara said quietly. Sound of spaces, he said. Sung-jin. They arrived at the same concept from different directions. That's not evidence of anything. Everything is evidence of something, he said. That is the most alarming thing you've ever said. Thank you, he said. Grandma Duth's house received everyone the way it always received people, with the energy of a space that had been prepared by someone who took preparation very seriously. The guest room, the food on the counter, the good dishes, the fresh flowers that Grandma Duth would say were just from the garden and had nothing to do with the occasion. They were from the florist. Everyone knew. Nobody said anything. The church ladies were already there. Miss Patricia at the kitchen table. Miss Gloria with her coffee in the exact same position she occupied at every gathering. Beverly and Constance on the sofa looking like they had always been there. Gerald was in the backyard talking to nobody, because Gerald sometimes went to backyards to think, and Grandma Duth's backyard was one he had standing permission to think in. Halmoni walked in. Miss Gloria stood up. You came back, she said. Halmoni looked at her. I said I would, she said. In English. Clean. Miss Gloria pointed at her. She said I would. She turned to the room. She remembered. She remembers everything, Ji-Hyun said. I know that now, Miss Gloria said. Halmoni sat at the kitchen table, in the same chair she had occupied last visit, like it had been waiting. Miss Patricia put tea in front of her without being asked. Halmoni nodded. Miss Patricia sat down, and the kitchen arranged itself around her the way it always did, people finding their places, conversations starting, the room becoming the room it became when everyone who was supposed to be in it was in it. Andre stood in the doorway for a moment, taking in the scene. Zara appeared beside him. Welcome to the situation, she said. There are a lot of people in this kitchen, he said. There are always a lot of people in this kitchen. Is that Gerald in the backyard? Yes. Should someone? He knows we're here. He'll come in when he's ready. What's he thinking about? Probably barbecue. Andre looked out the window at Gerald standing in the middle of the backyard staring at nothing specific. Respect, he said. Grandma Duth appeared. She walked directly to Andre. She looked up at him. You must be Andre, she said. Yes, ma'am. Zara's told me about you. Good things, I hope. Grandma Duth tilted her head exactly the amount it needed to tilt to communicate that the answer was nuanced. She said, "You always show up," Grandma Duth said. Andre waited. "That's one of the most important things about a person," she said. "I think so too," he said. She looked at him for a moment longer. The look she used to assess things.
Quick.
Thorough. Reaching a conclusion without announcing it. Then she pointed at the kitchen table.
"Sit," she said.
"Eat something. You've been on a plane." "I ate on the plane." "Food is not food," she said. She walked to the stove. Andre sat. Ji-Hyun appeared from the other room and stopped when she saw him already seated at the table. She looked at the table. She looked at the available chairs. She looked at the other side of the room. "Ji-Hyun," Grandma Duth said from the stove, without turning around. "Yes." "Sit down." "I was going to."
"Sit."
Ji-Hyun sat. At the table.
2 seats from Andre.
She picked up the nearest object, which was a spoon, and held it for a reason she had not determined. Sung-jin came in, saw the seating arrangement, sat in the chair between Ji-Hyun and Andre, looked at both of them, looked at Grandma Duth's back, and stood up again. "I'm going to check the backyard," he said. "With Gerald?" Zara asked. "Yes." "You've been in Atlanta for 2 hours." "Gerald is good company," he said and went outside. He sat with Gerald. He opened his notebook. He wrote something. Gerald looked at the notebook. "What's that for?" Gerald asked. "Documentation." "Of what?" "The situation developing in the kitchen." Gerald looked toward the house. "What situation?" "Ji-Hyun, the architect." Gerald was quiet for a moment. "How bad is it?" "She held a spoon for 4 minutes, Sung-jin said. "The spoon means something?" "She wasn't eating anything." Gerald nodded. "That's bad," he said. "It's the beginning," Sung-jin said. "Beginning of what?" Sung-jin looked at his notebook. "The situation," he said. Gerald leaned back in his lawn chair. "I'll make extra food for the cookout," he said. "Thank you, Gerald. These situations need food." "Most situations do." They sat in the backyard together while the kitchen inside did what kitchens do when they're full of people who are trying not to notice things they are very much noticing. Grandma Duth put food on the table. She watched the table while pretending to watch the pot. Halmoni watched from her chair while pretending to look at the window. Ji-Hyun talked to Zara. Andre talked to Miss Patricia. Nobody talked to both of them at the same time, which was interesting, because in any other social configuration Andre talked to everyone. And Ji-Hyun, once she was comfortable, talked to most people. But they were both being very careful about the direction of their conversations, which meant they were aware of each other, which meant the awareness required management, which meant something was already there. Grandma Duth picked up her phone. She read the message. She typed back. Grandma Duth's phone buzzed. She looked at it. She put it back down. She went back to the pot. She was smiling. Just slightly. Ji-Hyun, who noticed everything, looked at Grandma Duth's back. She looked at Halmoni's face. She looked between them. She put the spoon down. "What are you two doing?" she said. "Cooking," Grandma Duth said. "Drinking tea," Halmoni said, through habit, then caught herself. "Drinking tea," she said again in English, because she had been practicing. "You were texting each other." "We were communicating."
"About what?"
"The food," Grandma Duth said. "What about the food?" "Whether there's enough of it." "Is there enough of it?" "Yes," Grandma Duth said. "Then what was the question?" "Whether there was enough." Ji-Hyun looked at both of them.
"I'm not a fool," she said.
"We know," Halmoni said. "I can see what you're doing." "We're not doing anything." "You're texting across the kitchen table." "We're coordinating." "About." Neither answered, which was its own answer. "I'm a translator," Ji-Hyun said. "I know what a conversation looks like even when it's quiet." Grandma Duth looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked at Grandma Duth. The look lasted 2 seconds. Then Grandma Duth looked at Ji-Hyun. "Eat something," she said. "You've been on a plane." "I'm not hungry." Ji-Hyun. She put food in front of her. Ji-Hyun looked at the food. She looked at the two grandmothers. She picked up her fork.
She ate.
She was not going to win this conversation. She was going to eat food and be a professional. From across the table, Andre watched Grandma Duth put food in front of Ji-Hyun. He watched Ji-Hyun try to argue. He watched Grandma Duth end the argument with a plate. He looked at his own food. Then, at Ji-Hyun. She wins those fast, he said quietly. She always wins those fast, Ji-Hyun said.
How?
She doesn't negotiate. She just does the thing. That's a power move. It's her natural state. Ji-Hyun ate something. She doesn't know it's a power move. She just knows what she wants to happen and then makes it happen. Must be nice. It's effective. Whether it's nice depends on which side of the plate you're on. Andre looked at his plate. I got the food, he said. Today that's the good side, Ji-Hyun said. He looked at her. She looked at her food. She was just eating. Purely eating. She was not doing anything else. Sung-jin, coming back through the back door, looked at the table. He opened his notebook. He wrote something. Ji-Hyun looked up. Samkun. Yes. If you write one more thing in that notebook, I'm going to. 4:47 p.m., he said. Plate conversation. Both initiated. He clicked the pen. Same side now. Same side of what? The plate metaphor, he said. You switched it. I didn't switch anything. You put him on the good side. It was an example. Examples reveal thinking, Sung-jin said serenely. I will throw that notebook into the sun. Noted, Sung-jin said. That is not funny. I'll note that too. Ji-Hyun stood up. She walked out of the kitchen. She went to the guest room. She closed the door. She stood in the middle of the room.
She breathed.
She looked at the ceiling. She breathed again. She thought about nothing. She was thinking about nothing. Specifically nothing related to anything that had happened in the kitchen in the last 20 minutes. She went back out. Because she was a professional. And professionals did not hide in guest rooms because someone made a notebook observation. The next morning, the house woke up in the way houses did when something significant was approaching. Not the arrival day. Not yet. But close enough that the energy had changed. Jae-Won's flight was in 4 days. Grandma Duth made a list. Not a notebook. A list. 1 page.
Food.
Flowers. Seating. Diane's situation. She looked at that last line. She stared at it. Then she underlined it. Not because she knew what to do about it. Because it deserved to be seen. In the kitchen, Halmoni was already up. They moved around each other the way they always did now. Without discussion, without collision, with the ease of 2 people who had found the rhythm. Left burner. Right burner. 1 pot. 1 pan. No conversation required. The coordination had become instinct. Grandma Duth looked at Halmoni while she stirred. 4 days, she said. Halmoni looked at the pot. 4 days, she confirmed. Ji-Hyun appeared in the doorway. She looked at the kitchen. At both grandmothers working in synchronized silence. This still makes me uncomfortable, she said. Good morning, Grandma Duth said. Morning, Ji-Hyun said. She sat at the table. Halmoni put tea in front of her. Ji-Hyun accepted the tea. She looked at the 2 of them. I need to know something, she said. Both grandmothers looked at her. When he gets here.
Jae-Won.
What's the plan? Grandma Duth went back to stirring. No plan. There's always a plan. There's a dinner. Where? Here. Who's coming? Everyone. Ji-Hyun looked at Halmoni. Everyone meaning? The church ladies, Grandma Duth said. Gerald. Halmoni said in English. Because she had learned Gerald's name 6 months ago and had used it correctly every time since. Sung-jin, obviously, Ji-Hyun said. And Marcus, Grandma Duth added. Ji-Hyun stopped. Marcus. He's been helping with the community center renovation. He's a volunteer. He's also coming to dinner. Why is he coming to dinner? Because I invited him. Ji-Hyun looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked at her tea. You invited him, Ji-Hyun said. It would be rude not to. He's been involved with the neighborhood project. That is not why you invited him. It's one of the reasons. What's the other reason? Grandma Duth stirred. She did not answer, which was its own answer. And Andre, Ji-Hyun said. He's staying here. He's already invited by default. Ji-Hyun sat with this. The dinner. Marcus.
Andre. Jae-Won. Diane.
2 grandmothers with coordinated plans. The church ladies. Gerald.
It's going to be a lot, Ji-Hyun said. It's going to be everything, Grandma Duth said.
Halmoni nodded. And that was the thing about these two women. They didn't call it a plan. They called it dinner. But dinner, in their hands, was the most organized thing that could happen in a house. And 4 days later, Zara Kim was sitting in the back seat of a car on the way to an airport. With her grandmother. And the hat. The hat was present. Not the church hat from the first trip. Not the airport hat from the second trip. A third hat. One nobody had seen before. Ji-Hyun saw it when she came downstairs and stopped on the last step. What is that? A hat, Grandma Duth said. That is not a normal hat. I don't own normal hats. I've seen your hats. This is beyond your usual. Today is a special occasion. How special is it? He hasn't been here in 24 years, Grandma Duth said. Ji-Hyun looked at the hat. She looked at Grandma Duth. Okay, she said. Thank you. The hat is valid. I know. Halmoni came down the stairs. In her best hanbok. Not the travel one. The best one. The one she had brought specifically. She looked at Grandma Duth. Grandma Duth looked at her. Neither said anything. They didn't need to. In the car, Zara sat between moments. The drive was 40 minutes. She spent the first 10 minutes looking out the window. The next 10 minutes not looking at anything. The last 20 minutes not knowing exactly what she was doing. Grandma Duth, in the front seat, reached back and put her hand on Zara's knee. Just for a second. Then took it back. That was all. That was enough. At the airport, the arrivals hall. Everyone waiting. Grandma Duth, with the hat at full authority. Halmoni, at perfect posture. Ji-Hyun beside her, professional, ready. Sung-Jin with a notebook, which Ji-Hyun had decided not to confiscate today because some things were above documentation concerns. Andre standing slightly back because he understood instinctively that this moment was not his and he should be near enough to be there and far enough to not be in the way. Marcus, who had been invited and had come because he was exactly the kind of person who showed up when invited to something that mattered, standing quietly near the edge of the group.
Zara.
In the center. The doors opened. Passengers came through. Families found each other.
Tourists confused themselves.
And then, he walked through. He was taller than Zara expected. She had seen him on 100 calls. It was still different. It was always still different. He was carrying one bag. The right size. He walked through the doors and stopped. Looking at the crowd. Looking for them. And Zara waved. He saw her.
And his face did something. Quick.
Uncontrolled. The face a person makes when something they have been trying not to want too much is suddenly, completely real. He walked toward them. He walked toward Zara first.
Hi, he said. Hi, Dad, she said.
And then he hugged her. And the arrivals hall continued around them, like it always did. Indifferent and full and going on about its own business. Halmoni stepped forward. She had been standing exactly still, as she always did when she was containing something large. He saw her. And the face happened again. Different version. This one older. 24 years worth. He said something in Korean.
Short.
Ji-Hyun stood very still and did not translate it. Because some things between his son and his mother were not for translation. Halmoni put both hands on his face. The same gesture she had used with Zara in Seoul. Taking inventory. Checking the years. She said one thing. You're here. Ji-Hyun translated.
Softly.
She says you're finally here. He put his hands over hers. I'm here, he said. The arrivals hall went about its business. And Grandma Duth stood 4 feet back, in her biggest hat, with her hands clasped in front of her, watching. Not performing anything. Not managing anything. Just watching. Because this was the moment. This was the one she had been waiting for. The one she had said, Lord, just let me live long enough to see it.
She was seeing it.
Then Jae-Won looked up. He looked at Grandma Duth. He knew who she was. He had known her through every phone call Zara had ever made about her. Through the stories.
Through Diane.
Through the woman who had raised his daughter when he couldn't. Mrs. Washington, he said.
Don't, she said.
He looked at her. Don't Mrs. Washington me, she said. You know what to call me. He smiled. The smile arrived slowly. like it had traveled from somewhere far away and finally made it. "Yes, ma'am," he said. She opened her arms. He hugged her. And she was not a small woman, and he was not a small man, and the hug contained 24 years of Sunday phone calls and one daughter, and every complicated prayer she had ever said about this situation. She held on. He held on too. In the back of the group, Andre looked at Sungjin. Sungjin looked at Andre. Neither spoke. Neither needed to. Some moments were above documentation. Sungjin put the notebook in his pocket. Gerald, who had also come because Gerald came to things that mattered, was holding the sign he had made. "Welcome home, Jae-Won Kim. English and Korean. 7 drafts." He lowered it slightly. He looked at the scene. He looked at the sign. He folded it carefully. He put it under his arm. "I'll give it to him at the house," he said to nobody in particular. "That's perfect," Ji-Hyun said.
It was.
Nobody warned Jae-Won. This was not an oversight. This was a choice. Specifically, it was Zara's choice, made approximately 3 weeks before his arrival, when she realized that explaining the full situation would take longer than the flight, and would almost certainly prompt questions she didn't have answers to. So she said nothing. She said, "Grandma Duth's house. Saturday. Dinner." She did not say, "Your mother and my grandmother have been coordinating internationally since October and are now operating as a single unified force, and the neighborhood knows your mother by name, and Gerald has her contact information, and she reorganized one of the kitchen shelves, and it's still that way."
She did not say any of that.
She said, "Dinner." The car pulled up to the house. Jae-Won looked out the window. He saw the street, the houses, the yard. He saw Gerald in the yard next door, who looked up, saw the car, and raised a hand in greeting. "That's Gerald," Jae-Won asked. "That's Gerald," Zara confirmed. Gerald walked toward the driveway. Jae-Won stepped out of the car. Gerald extended his hand. "Jae-Won Kim," Gerald said. "Been waiting to meet you." Jae-Won shook his hand. "Gerald, I've heard about you. Good things. Zara said you make very good signs." Gerald smiled. 7 drafts, he said. He reached into the car and pulled out the folded sign. He unfolded it and held it up. "Welcome home, Jae-Won Kim. In English and Korean." Jae-Won looked at it. He looked at Gerald. "You wrote the Korean yourself?" he said. "Sungjin coached me. 3 weeks of text lessons." Jae-Won looked at Sungjin. Sungjin nodded. "He was a good student. The character for Kim gave me trouble," Gerald said. "Practiced it 40 times. It looks exactly right," Jae-Won said. "I know," Gerald said, with the calm dignity of a man who had put in the work and knew it. They shook hands again. This one lasted longer. Sungjin wrote something in his notebook. Jae-Won walked toward the house. He stopped at the door. He could hear voices inside. Multiple voices. He looked at Zara. "How many people?" he said.
"Some people," she said.
"How many is some?" "A variable number." "Zara. You'll see when you open the door." He opened the door. The church ladies were in the living room. Miss Gloria, Miss Patricia, Beverly, Constance, and 2 women he didn't recognize who waved at him with the familiarity of people who felt they already knew him. They probably did. They had known about him, since October at minimum. He waved back. He stepped into the hallway. He looked left. He looked right. He heard the kitchen. He walked toward it. He stopped in the doorway. Grandma Duth was at the left burner. Halmoni was at the right burner. Side by side. Moving around each other, without looking. Without discussing. Without any of the careful choreography you'd expect from 2 women who had met less than a year ago. They moved like people who had been in the same kitchen for a long time. Jae-Won stood in the doorway. He looked at his mother. He looked at Grandma Duth. He looked at his mother again. He looked at the stove. At the 2 pots. At the specific division of the space that was not formal, but was clearly understood. He turned around. He walked back to Zara. "Nobody warned me," he said. "Warned you of what?" she said. "That they're like that." "Like what?" He looked back toward the kitchen. At the sound of 2 women moving in synchronized quiet around each other's spaces. "Like that," he said. "We thought you'd understand better if you saw it," Zara said. "How long?" "Since Seoul." He looked at the ceiling. "They coordinated by phone," Zara said. "How often?" "Twice a week." "Since October."
Sometimes 3 times. He stood there for a moment, processing. Is it? He started. It's fine, Zara said. Mostly. Mostly. Almost always fine. Occasionally terrifying. What makes it terrifying? When they agree on something. He looked at the kitchen again. They agree a lot, he said. More and more, Zara said. He was quiet. Your father warned you about his wife? Zara asked. He looked at her. My father said she was the most capable woman he had ever met, Jae-Won said. He said she was always 10 steps ahead of everyone else in the room. He said she could organize an entire village without raising her voice. That's accurate. He also said that when she found someone she considered an equal, Jae-Won said slowly, she was unstoppable. They both looked at the kitchen. Ah, Zara said. Yes, Jae-Won said. From inside the kitchen, Grandma Duth said something. Halmoni responded. Something was passed between them. A spoon. Without looking, Jae-Won watched this transaction. He made a sound. Not a word. Just a sound. The sound a person makes when they understand something completely. Come, Zara said. She walked him into the kitchen. Grandma Duth turned around first. She looked at him for a full 3 seconds. He stood there and let her look. You have your father's eyes, she said. So I've been told. Good eyes, she said. Honest eyes. She went back to the stove. Jae-Won looked at Halmoni. Halmoni had already turned. She was looking at him with the kitchen behind her. She said one word in Korean. He answered in one word. She turned back to her pot. He watched her for a moment. She added something. Stirred once. Tasted it. Added slightly more. Stirred again. Her movements were exactly as he remembered them. Exactly. 24 years, and the movements were the same. He sat down at the table. Ji-Hyun appeared and put water in front of him without being asked. He looked up at her. Thank you, he said. She does it for everyone who looks like they need a moment, Ji-Hyun said. I need a moment. I know. Drink the water. He drank the water. He looked at the kitchen. At both grandmothers. At the left burner and the right burner. At the shelf that had been reorganized and left that way. At the small ceramic container that had traveled from Seoul and was sitting on the Atlantic counter like it had always been there. How does the shelf feel? He asked Zara. Better, honestly, Zara said. He nodded. Of course it does, he said. Grandma Duth looked over her shoulder. For days, she said. You've been here 4 minutes and you're already calling my shelf wrong. I didn't say wrong, he said. You implied it. I implied nothing. I just asked how it felt. And she said better honestly. Which means it's better now. It was fine before. It's better now, Halmoni said, without turning around. Grandma Duth looked at the back of Halmoni's head. I know it's better, she said. Then why? Because I should have been the one to see it. You saw it. After. Seeing it after and seeing it first are different things, Grandma Duth said. I've been in this kitchen for 30 years, and I didn't see it. Jae-Won looked at Zara. Zara looked at him. How long does this go on, he said quietly. Until they reach an agreement and move to the next thing, she said. Which is when? Usually about 30 seconds. Grandma Duth turned back to the stove. Fine, she said. It's better. Yes, Halmoni said. I'm noting that you have good eyes. Halmoni, thank you. Not for shelves. For people. Also, thank you. I'm still better at people. Halmoni paused her stirring for exactly 1 second. We'll see, she said. Grandma Duth looked at the pot she was tending. The corner of her mouth moved. Jae-Won watched the whole exchange. 24 years, he said softly. To no one specific. What? Zara said. Nothing. He picked up the water. Nothing. The cookout started at 4. Gerald organized it with the competence of a man who had been hosting things in his backyard for 20 years and knew exactly where everything went and exactly how many people everything needed to feed and exactly how long everything needed to cook and did not need to be asked any of these things because he had already done them. The food appeared. Then the people. Then more people. Miss Gloria arrived with a dish she had made specifically for Jae-Won because she had heard he liked certain things and had made those things. How do you know what he likes? Ji-Hyun asked. His mother told me, Miss Gloria said.
Ji-Hyun looked at Halmoni. Halmoni was talking to Beverly. When did Halmoni tell you what Jae-Won likes? Ji-Hyun said. She called me in January, Miss Gloria said. She called you. Through Sung-jin. He translated. Ji-Hyun turned to Sung-jin. Sung-jin was arranging folding chairs. Samkun. Yes. You facilitated a phone call between Halmoni and Miss Gloria in January. I did. About Uncle Jae-Won's food preferences. She wanted to make sure he'd have familiar flavors. You translated a grandmother food consultation in January. It was 12 minutes. And you didn't think to mention it. You didn't ask. Ji-Hyun stared at him. She turned back to the group. Andre appeared at her shoulder, with 2 cups. What happened, he said. Halmoni has been coordinating with the church ladies since January.
About what?
About Jae-Won's food preferences. Andre looked at Miss Gloria, at the dish she was carrying, at the specific confidence with which she was carrying it. That's actually kind of incredible, he said. It's insane. Insanely kind, though. Ji-Hyun looked at him. He held out one of the cups. She took it. What is this? She said. Lemonade. Gerald made it. He said it's from a specific recipe. Which recipe? His grandmother's. He only makes it for important days. Ji-Hyun looked at the cup. She looked at the cookout in full motion around them. At Jae-Won shaking hands with a neighbor he had never met who already knew who he was. At Grandma Duth moving through the crowd with the ease of a woman in her natural domain. At Halmoni standing with the church ladies with a composure that had relaxed 3 degrees since the previous visit. It is an important day, Ji-Hyun said. Yeah, Andre said. They stood there,
side by side,
with Gerald's grandmother's lemonade, not saying anything. The cookout went on around them. Sung-jin appeared behind them with his notebook.
He wrote something.
He walked away. Ji-Hyun didn't look back. She already knew. She was choosing not to care. She was doing an excellent job of choosing not to care. The matchmaking started at 5:30. Grandma Duth began it. She called it making introductions. She did not call it executing a plan she had coordinated with Halmoni over 3 months. But it was that. It was very much that. First move, she called Marcus over to where Zara was standing near the food table looking at something Ji-Hyun was showing her on a phone. Marcus, she said. Come look at this. At what? He said. This. She pointed at nothing specific on the table. He looked. He saw food. The arrangement, he said. What do you think? He looked at the table. He tilted his head slightly. Everything's accessible, he said. But the traffic flow puts people coming in from the left reaching across the right side dishes. Zara looked up from Ji-Hyun's phone. She looked at the table. You'd want people moving in from the right, she said. Or centered, he said. Gerald centered it. Gerald centered it for aesthetics. For function you want. The heavier dishes on the sides, she said. So people stopped there instead of in the middle of the flow, he said. They looked at the table. Then at each other. Then they started rearranging it. Without discussing it further. Without asking Gerald. Gerald watched from the grill. He looked at Grandma Duth. Grandma Duth looked at Gerald. Gerald nodded. He went back to the grill. Sung-jin wrote something. Zara looked up and caught him writing. Sung-jin. Yes. What did you write? Table rearrangement. Both initiated. No verbal agreement required. That was about food traffic flow. Everything is about something, Sung-jin said. That is the second most alarming thing you've ever said. The first was yesterday, he confirmed. I'm consistent. Second move, Halmoni. She waited until Ji-Hyun walked toward the drinks table. She appeared beside her. Ji-Hyun. Halmoni. Andre is standing alone. Ji-Hyun looked. Andre was standing near the edge of the yard talking to Jae-Won. He's not alone, Ji-Hyun said. He's with Uncle Jae. Jae-Won should talk to Diane. Jae-Won is having a separate conversation. He should talk to Diane, Halmoni said again. More firmly. Halmoni. Halmoni called across the yard. Jae-Won. He looked over. She said one sentence in Korean.
He looked at Diane.
He excused himself from Andre.
He walked toward Diane.
Diane looked at him coming toward her with an expression that contained several things at once. Halmoni turned back to Ji-Hyun. Now he's alone, she said. Ji-Hyun stared at her. That was very fast, Ji-Hyun said. Go take him a drink. I'm not going to. He's been standing in the heat. It's not that hot. Ji-Hyun. Halmoni looked at her. The look. The specific one. The one that was not demanding or commanding, but was somehow both of those things without being either. He looks warm, Halmoni said. Give him something cold. Ji-Hyun looked at the drinks table. She looked at Andre. She looked at her own cup. She was already holding a drink. She poured a second one. She walked across the yard.
She stopped next to Andre. Here, she said.
He looked at the cup. He looked at her. You brought me a drink, he said. You looked warm, she said. He looked at the sky. It was not particularly hot. He looked back at her.
Thank you, he said.
It's Gerald's grandmother's lemonade. I know. I had some earlier. It's very good. Yes. Did you have some? She held up her own cup. He looked at it. Then at the drinks table. Then at her. You already had one, he said. Yes. But you poured a second to bring to me. You looked warm. He pressed his lips together. Not smiling. Definitely not smiling. Right, he said. She looked at the yard. He looked at the yard.
How's the visit going, he said.
Strange, she said. Good strange. What makes it strange? Seeing Uncle Jae-Won here. He belongs in soul in my head. Seeing him in Atlanta is like, she thought about it. Like seeing a word in a language you know but translated. It's right. But different right. Translation right. Yes. Different from original right, but still correct. Exactly. He looked at her. She looked at her lemonade. From across the yard, Halmoni watched. She watched for 8 full seconds. Then she looked at Grandma Duth. Grandma Duth was already looking at her. They were 10 feet apart. They communicated the following without words. It's working. I know. Don't say anything. I won't. The church ladies are watching. Let them watch. Then Grandma Duth looked at the yard in general. She looked at Zara and Marcus at the food table, both explaining something about the rearrangement to Gerald, who was listening with genuine interest. She looked at Ji-Hyun and Andre standing at the edge of the yard with lemonade. She looked at Jae-Won and Diane near the far fence, not talking but standing close in the way people stood when they had decided to be near each other. She looked at the cookout, at Gerald's food, at the church ladies she had known for decades, at the neighborhood that had shown up because this was what her neighborhood did, at Halmoni across the yard and her best hanbok talking to Beverly, who was showing her something on her phone about a plant that needed advice.
She breathed.
Just once.
Deep.
She had a thought. She was going to keep the thought to herself. But Halmoni looked up from Beverly's phone at that exact moment and caught Grandma Duth's expression and said something quietly to Beverly and walked over. What? Halmoni said. Nothing. You have an expression. I have many expressions. This specific one. It's a cookout expression. Dorothy. Grandma Duth looked at the yard one more time. She looked at Halmoni. Nothing yet, she said. Later. Halmoni held her gaze for a moment. Later, she agreed, and went back to Beverly's plan question. Sungjin, passing behind them with a plate, wrote something in his notebook. Miss Gloria, sitting nearby, looked at him. What are you writing? She said. Documentation. Of what? The situation. Which situation? All of them. Miss Gloria looked at the yard. At all the situations running simultaneously. You're going to need a bigger notebook, she said. I brought 2, Sungjin said. Smart man, said Miss Gloria. Thank you, said Sungjin. The food was extraordinary. This was not a coincidence. Both grandmothers had been planning this table since January, and the result was a spread that operated on multiple levels simultaneously. Gerald's meat, Grandma Duth's mac and cheese, Halmoni's contribution, which had traveled in careful containers and had been reheated with the same attention it had been made with. Miss Gloria's dish, Miss Patricia's dish, Constance's dish, Beverly's dish. It was the kind of table where nobody could identify a weakest dish because there wasn't one. Jae-Won stood in front of it. He stood there for a moment, just looking. What's happening? Andre said, appearing beside him. I'm trying to understand the table, Jae-Won said. What about it? It shouldn't work. Why not? Korean food. Southern American food. Miss Gloria brought something that I think is Jamaican. There's Gerald's barbecue, which is its own category. Does it work? Jae-Won picked up a plate. He served himself from 6 different dishes. He took a bite of the first thing, then the second. Then he put a little of everything together, in one bite. Andre watched. Jae-Won chewed. He was quiet. Yeah, he said. It works. How? Because everyone who made something made it with the same reason, Jae-Won said. What reason? The same one. He gestured at the yard. Same table. Andre looked at the yard. At the same table that had somehow included Halmoni, Grandma Duth, church ladies, Gerald, a neighborhood, 2 women from Seoul, an architect from Atlanta, and 1 man who had been trying to get back for 24 years. Same table, Andre said. Yeah, Jae-Won said. He went to find Halmoni. She was near the back fence. He sat beside her. You made the John, he said. You can tell from across the yard? I can tell from across a room. I've been able to since I was 6. She looked at the fence. The oil temperature, she said. Yes. You always knew. You always made it the same way. She was quiet. 24 years, he said. Same temperature. Of course, she said. Why would it change? He looked at his plate. At the John. He ate one. Still right, he said. She nodded. Just once. Like he had confirmed something she already knew but needed to hear anyway. They sat. The cookout went on around them. They didn't fill the quiet. Some quiets were already full. The matchmaking attempt of the evening happened at 7:15. It was not subtle. The grandmothers had discussed subtle. They had agreed that subtle was a tool for situations that required patience. This situation had been patient since October. They were done being patient. Grandma Duth found Marcus near the dessert table. She appeared beside him with the authority of a woman who had somewhere specific to be and was choosing to be here instead. You're an architect, she said. Yes, ma'am. You work on residential? Mostly commercial. Some residential, when the project is interesting. What makes residential interesting? When it's not just a house. When it's a specific life needing a specific space. Like what? Like, he thought about it. There's a woman who paints. She hired me to redesign her studio. Not just bigger, but better. The light from the north. The ceiling height specific to how she holds her arm when she works. The acoustics for silence. It was a 400 square foot project, and it took longer than most office builds I've done. Because you cared about it. Because it mattered. The right space makes work better. The right work makes everything better. Grandma Duth looked at him. Zara's apartment needs work, she said. Marcus was quiet for exactly 1 second. Mrs. Washington, the light in her office corner is wrong. You'd see it if you were there. I'm sure it's... The desk is against the wrong wall, she said. She works against the light instead of with it. It affects her eyes. She's mentioned it twice. Marcus looked at her. He said nothing, because there was nothing to say that wouldn't confirm exactly what she was doing. I'm just saying, Grandma Duth said. If you happen to be in the area. She patted his arm. She walked away. She found Halmoni near the drinks table. Done, she said quietly. Which approach? Halmoni handed her a cup. The work angle. Through her design. Through his design. Architecture. Halmoni nodded slowly. Effective, she said. He didn't say no. He didn't say anything. No is something. Nothing is considering. Halmoni looked at where Marcus was still standing. He was looking in the direction Zara had last been. Considering, Halmoni confirmed. They stood with their cups. Your turn, Grandma Duth said. Halmoni set down her cup. She moved. Ji-Hyun and Andre were near the back of the yard. Halmoni arrived between them. Ji-Hyun, she said. Halmoni. Your phone translation application. The new one. Yes. Show Andre. Ji-Hyun looked at her. Why? He works internationally. He said so. He needs good translation tools. He has. Show him the new one. Ji-Hyun looked at Halmoni. She looked at Andre. Andre looked like he was making an effort to appear neutral. He was not succeeding fully. Ji-Hyun pulled out her phone. She pulled up the translation app.
She showed it to Andre.
He leaned slightly toward the screen. They were now both looking at the same phone. Halmoni watched for 3 seconds. She walked away. She found Grandma Duth.
Done, she said.
That was fast. Phone. The translation app? It's the right distance for 2 people to look at the same screen. She picked up her cup. Close enough to be natural. Far enough that it means something when they don't move back. Grandma Duth looked at Halmoni. I've been saying you have good eyes. I know. For people. I know, Dorothy. Not just posture. Not just posture, Halmoni agreed. They stood and watched the yard in comfortable silence. The way they stood now. Like 2 people who had done a job together long enough that the job required no discussion. Sung-jin appeared behind them. You know I can see what you're doing, he said. We're enjoying the cookout, Grandma Duth said. You're operating. Enjoying. You sent Grandma Duth to Marcus, and then Halmoni to Ji-Hyun in a coordinated 2-minute window. Neither grandmother responded. I have it documented, he said. Document away, Grandma Duth said.
I will, he said. He wrote something.
He walked away. Across the yard, Gerald had materialized beside Sung-jin. How many pages? Gerald said. Sung-jin looked at the notebook. 14. Gerald looked at the cookout. For 1 evening. It's a dense evening. What happens with a notebook at the end? Sung-jin thought about it. Historical record, he said. Gerald nodded. Good man, he said. Thank you, Gerald. More lemonade? Please. The cookout wound down at 9. Not dramatically. The way things wound down when they had been complete. Gradually, satisfied. Nobody rushing toward the exit but the exits happening anyway. Gerald cleaned up the grill. Miss Gloria took her dish. The church ladies left in the order they had arrived, which was the reverse order of when they had been ready to leave, which was a pattern that had never been formally recognized but had been consistent for decades. Beverly was last. She hugged Halmoni at the door. Come back, she said. I know where the house is, Halmoni said. Beverly laughed. She left. The house settled. Sung-jin washed dishes. Marcus helped without being asked. Zara and Ji-Hyun sat at the kitchen table. Andre was in the backyard with Jae-Won, who had wanted to see the yard Gerald had improved based on Halmoni's advice. Halmoni and Grandma Duth were in the living room. The quiet that arrived after a full house was a specific kind of quiet. Full but still. Like the room was breathing. Zara looked at Ji-Hyun. Ji-Hyun looked at her tea. How are you doing? Zara said. With what specifically? Everything. Today. Ji-Hyun thought about it. Today was a lot of things at the same time, she said. Good lot or bad lot? Good lot. But a lot. Jae-Won's here.
He's here.
You okay with that? Ji-Hyun looked at her tea. I watched him and Halmoni sit at the back fence for 20 minutes, she said. They didn't talk much. They just Saturday. Was that hard to watch?
No.
Ji-Hyun was quiet for a moment. It looked right. They looked like they fit together in the same space. I've only ever seen Halmoni in Seoul. Seeing her next to him in Atlanta felt. She thought of the word. Whole. Zara nodded. Yeah, she said. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Sung-jin kicked me out of the dish area, he said. He says I was doing it wrong. Were you? Zara said. I was doing it differently. That's the same thing. It is not the same thing. In Sung-jin's kitchen theology, it's the same thing. Marcus sat at the table. He looked at both of them. Good day, he said. Not a question.
Good day, Zara said.
Your dad is, he thought about the word. He fits. Fits where? Here. In this house. With these people. He shook his head. I don't know him. I just watched him today. But he fits. Zara looked at her hands. He does, she said. Outside, in the backyard, Andre and Jae-Won were looking at Gerald's garden beds. Andre was asking about the redesign. Jae-Won was explaining what Halmoni had told Gerald about the soil direction and drainage. She knew about drainage from a video call?
Andre said.
She asked questions. Specific ones. Gerald answered. She assessed from the photographs he sent. He sent her photographs. Over 4 months. Andre looked at the garden. Your family communicates a lot, he said. My family has 24 years to make up for, Jae-Won said. When you have that much to catch up on, you use every channel available.
Phone.
Video call. Photograph. Sign-making tutorials over text, Jae-Won said. Gerald mentioned the sign training. 40 drafts. 7 drafts. He said 7. He told me 40 later. In private. Jae-Won smiled. He didn't want to undercut the 7 story. Andre laughed. Gerald is, he started. Exactly what this neighborhood needed, Jae-Won said. You haven't even been here a day. You can see it in an afternoon, Jae-Won said. Some things you can see in an afternoon if you're paying attention. Andre was quiet. What else can you see in an afternoon, he said. Jae-Won looked at him. Just briefly. Ji-Hyun's good, he said. Not what Andre had asked. Exactly what Andre needed to hear. I know, Andre said. I've known her since she was 10, Jae-Won said. She translates everything for everyone. She's been doing it her whole life. He looked at the garden. She should have someone who translates for her for a change. Andre was quiet. I'm not great at Korean, Andre said. She's not bad at English, Jae-Won said. That's true. The language isn't the translation anyway. Andre looked at him. You sound like her, Andre said. She sounds like me, Jae-Won said. She picked it up. 26 years of translating how I think. What does that mean for me? Jae-Won smiled. It means, he said, that if you can follow her thinking, she'll follow yours. Andre looked at the garden.
Noted, he said.
Jae-Won nodded. They went back inside. The living room. It was almost 10 o'clock. Zara had moved to the living room couch. Marcus was at the far end, looking at the photos on the shelf. They were not talking. They were in the comfortable not talking of people who had run out of subjects for the night, and were fine with that. This is the sole photo, Marcus said, pointing. Ji-Hyun took it. The grandmother's face. She didn't know it was being taken. That's the real face. What face is it? He looked at the photo. Pride, he said. But the kind you don't show. The kind that's just there underneath everything else. Zara looked at the photo. That's exactly what it is, she said. He looked at the photo a moment longer. Then he looked at Zara. Your apartment, he said. The desk against the wrong wall. She stared at him. Your grandmother mentioned it, he said. Of course she did. She said the light's working against you. She said that. Is she right? Zara thought about it. Yes, she said. I've meant to move it. It's not complicated. It's one wall. I keep not doing it. I could take a look, he said. Not as a thing. Just to see what would actually work. She looked at him. You don't have to. I know, he said. It's just a desk. It's where you work. It should be right. She looked at the photo on the shelf. The kitchen. The house. The whole evening. Okay, she said. Okay, he said. He went back to looking at the shelf. She went back to sitting on the couch. The comfortable not talking resumed. Outside the living room door, in the hallway, Grandma Duth and Halmoni stood. Not in a room. In the hallway, which had a view of the living room. Specifically a view of Zara on the couch and Marcus at the shelf. Specifically. They're not talking, Halmoni said. That's the good kind of not talking, Grandma Duth said. How do you know? Look at how they're not talking. Halmoni looked. At the ease of it. At 2 people not talking in a room like they had been not talking in the same room for years. Yes, she said. Good kind. Better than talking sometimes. Much better. In the kitchen, Ji-Hyun was washing the last cup. Andre appeared in the doorway. She heard him, but didn't turn around. Need help, he said. Last one, she said. She finished it. She turned around. He was leaning against the doorframe with his jacket over one arm because it was time to leave, but he was still here. Good day, he said. Good day, she said. Your family is, he thought about the right word. A lot. Always. Good lot. Usually. Jae-Won's great. He is. Halmoni is. Terrifying, Ji-Hyun said. I was going to say, impressive. She's both. Fair. He was quiet. She reminded me of my grandmother. In the way she looked at everything. Like she was taking it apart to understand it. She does that. It's good though. Some people look. She studies. She studies everything. Everyone. Ji-Hyun put the cup on the drying rack. Including you. I know.
She approved.
In case you were wondering. He looked at her. How do you know? She told me. When? Around the lemonade moment, Ji-Hyun said. She said he notices the right things. Andre was quiet. What things? She didn't specify. Halmoni rarely specifies. She just states conclusions and expects you to understand the evidence. What do you think she meant? Ji-Hyun looked at the drying rack. At the single cup. The way you talked to Uncle Jae-Won today, she said. You didn't ask him about the obvious things. You asked him about Gerald's garden. It's a good garden. You could have asked about the visa situation. The 24 years. The big things. Those weren't my questions to ask.
No.
But you knew that. She picked up the cup, looked at it, put it back. That's what she meant. You noticed the right things. He looked at her. She was looking at the cup. Ji-Hyun. Yes. I'm going to be in Atlanta for 3 more weeks. She picked up the dish towel. She did not need the dish towel. Everything was dry. I know, she said. Is that enough time? For what? He looked at her. She looked at the towel. To figure out if there's a translation worth making, he said. She folded the towel. She put it down. She looked at him. I've been translating other people's conversations my whole life, she said. I know. I don't know how to have one that's mine. You're having one right now. She looked at him.
He was right. She was.
Without the notebook. Without the roles. Without anyone to translate for. Just a conversation. Her own. 3 weeks is a start, she said. He smiled. Not the performed kind. The real kind. The kind that started in the eyes first. She looked at the smile. She looked away. Good night, Andre, she said. Good night, Ji-Hyun. He left. She stood in the kitchen.
She breathed.
She was not going to smile. She was going to turn off the kitchen light and go to bed and be a professional. She turned off the kitchen light. She walked down the hallway. She passed the guest room.
She stopped.
She smiled. Just for a second. Then she kept walking.
The house was quiet now.
Almost everyone in their rooms. Zara was on the stairs. Just sitting.
She did this sometimes.
The stairs between the first floor and the second floor were a good middle place when you needed to be between things. She heard voices from the living room.
Low.
Not meant to carry. But she could hear the rhythm of them. 3 voices.
Jae-Won.
Grandma Duth. Halmoni. She didn't catch the words. She heard. Her father laughing at something. Then Grandma Duth laughing. Then Halmoni, quieter but there. All 3 of them. In the same room. In a house in Atlanta. On a night that had been 24 years in the making. Diane appeared at the bottom of the stairs. She was holding a cup of tea. She looked up at Zara. Zara looked down at her. Diane looked at the living room door. She listened. Her daughter-father's voice. Grandma Duth. Halmoni. Diane's face did something.
Quick.
Private. Not performed. The face of a woman who had been holding something for a very long time and was quietly setting it down. She looked back up at Zara. Zara nodded. Diane nodded back. She sat at the bottom of the stairs. They sat on the stairs together, listening to 3 people in a living room laugh about something that wasn't their business and didn't need to be. It was enough to hear it. More than enough. From inside the living room, the grandmother scene was not what anyone watching from outside would have expected. No grand declarations. No formal moment. Just Jae-Won on the sofa. Grandma Duth in her chair. Halmoni in hers. The same seating arrangement that had been developing all evening. She told you I called? Jae-Won said to Grandma Duth. Every Sunday, Grandma Duth said. She kept track. She would. She has a notebook. He looked at Halmoni. Halmoni was looking at the window. About the calls, he said. About everything, Grandma Duth said. She keeps records of the important things. She's been keeping records since I was born. Then she has very complete records. He looked at the window too. At the Atlanta night outside. At the street he'd only seen for 1 day and already recognized. Because it was Zara Street. And Zara Street was already his. Can I tell you something? He said.
To both of them. To neither specifically.
Yes, Grandma Duth said. Halmoni looked at him. I used to think, he said, that the distance was the problem. That if I could close the distance, everything would be right. He paused. But the distance was also the thing that built all of this. He gestured. At the house. At what was around him. The calls. The letters. The 24 years of staying connected when you couldn't be present. It built something I don't think I would have built if I'd just been here. Grandma Duth was quiet. Halmoni was quiet.
Zara, he said. She knows how to stay connected.
She knows how to hold people from a distance. She knows how to love someone she doesn't see often. She learned it, Grandma Duth said.
From both of you, he said.
Neither grandmother said anything. You both stayed connected, he said. With her. With each other. With all of it. He looked at both of them. 24 years. And here we are. Grandma Duth looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked at Grandma Duth. Then Halmoni said something quiet. In Korean. Jae-Won translated. She says, we kept the lights on.
You did, he said.
Grandma Duth nodded. Not performing it. Just nodding. The way you nod when something is true, and the truth is enough. We kept the lights on, she said. On the stairs, Zara heard the laughter that came after. She didn't know what had been said.
She didn't need to.
She just heard all three of them. She leaned her head against the wall. Diane, below her, had done the same. The house held them all. Every one of them. In their respective places. In their particular quiets. And all of it connected. Which was, when you thought about it, the whole point. Outside on the small back porch, Zara found her way there eventually. Just to breathe. Just to be outside the full house for a minute.
She sat on the steps.
The Atlanta night was warm. The sounds were the particular sounds of a residential street at 11 p.m., a car somewhere, a dog, the specific quality of quiet that sat under everything the way Ji-Hyun had described it. She heard the back door. She looked over. Marcus. He had his jacket now. He was leaving.
He saw her.
He stopped.
Hey, he said.
Hey, she said. He looked at the yard. Good night, he said.
Good night, she said.
He sat on the step beside her. Not with a reason. Just sat. They looked at the yard. At Gerald's recommendations. At the plants that had been repositioned. At the space that had been thought about before anything was moved. The desk, Marcus said. I know, she said. One wall. Not a project. I know. You keep saying I know. Because I do know. Then why haven't you moved it? She looked at the yard. Because I've been waiting, she said.
For what?
To know it was the right wall. He looked at her. How do you know it's the right wall? You know how you know when something visual is right, she said.
You don't always know why.
But you know. You know when it lands right. Yes. When the hierarchy makes sense. Yes. When the eye goes where it's supposed to go. Yes. He looked at the yard. She looked at the yard. Saturday, he said. For the desk? If you want. She thought about it. Yeah, she said. Okay, he said. He stood up. He was leaving. He looked back at her on the step. Your dad is great, he said. He is. He fits here. He does. Marcus looked at the house. At the lit windows. At the shape of a family inside them. So do you, he said. And walked through the side gate. And was gone. Zara sat on the step. She looked at the yard. She didn't say anything.
She didn't need to.
From behind the kitchen window. Two faces watched. Grandma Duth. Halmoni. Both standing slightly back from the glass, so as to not be immediately visible. Both watching Zara on the step. She's smiling, Grandma Duth said. I can see. At the yard. At the yard, Halmoni agreed. She's thinking about the desk. And the Saturday. And the Saturday, Grandma Duth confirmed. They watched for another moment. Then Ji-Hyun appeared in the kitchen. She looked at them. At their position. At the deliberate distance from the window. You're spying, she said. We're observing, Grandma Duth said. From behind a curtain. We're standing near a curtain. That is spying. It is a different category, Halmoni said. The category is spying. Observation is passive, Grandma Duth said. We're not intervening. We're watching. That is the definition of Ji-Hyun, Halmoni said.
She stopped.
Tea, Halmoni said. Ji-Hyun looked at both of them. She looked at the window. She looked at the curtain.
Fine, she said.
She sat at the table. Halmoni made tea. Grandma Duth returned to the window for exactly 3 more seconds and then stepped back with the expression of a woman who had confirmed something. She sat at the table. She looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked at her. Something passed between them.
Quiet. Quick.
An idea. Both of them, at the same time, from the same observation, arriving at the same place. The synchronized look. The one that had started an international incident twice already. The one that meant something was being planned. Something large. Something with moving parts. Something that was going to require coordination and research, and probably another notebook. Ji-Hyun saw it. She put her cup down.
No, she said.
Both grandmothers looked at her. Whatever that look is.
No.
What look? Grandma Duth said. That look. The one you're both doing right now. We're just sitting, Halmoni said. You're sitting with an agenda. T doesn't have an agenda. You have an agenda. Ji-Hyun. I recognize that look. I've been translating that look since Seoul. That is the look that produces notebooks and reference folders and international video call arguments at 6 a.m. Neither grandmother said anything. What is it? Ji-Hyun said. Silence. What is it? Grandma Duth picked up her tea. Nothing yet, she said. Nothing yet. It's an early-stage thought. Early-stage thoughts from the two of you become full operations within 48 hours. Halmoni patted Ji-Hyun's hand. Drink your tea, she said. Ji-Hyun looked at her hand. She looked at Grandma Duth. She looked at the window. At the yard where Zara had been sitting. Is it about Zara? She said. Silence. Is it about me? Silence. Is it about Uncle Jae-Won and Diane? Grandma Duth looked at Halmoni. Halmoni looked at Grandma Duth. The look again. Different version. Also dangerous. It's about all of it, Grandma Duth said. Ji-Hyun sat very still. All of it, she said. All of it, Halmoni confirmed. One plan. One direction, Grandma Duth said. What direction? Neither answered. What direction? Reunion, Grandma Duth said simply. Ji-Hyun looked at her. What kind of reunion? Grandma Duth smiled. Halmoni's corner moved. The kind, Grandma Duth said, that needs planning. Planning how much? A lot, Halmoni said. With what components? All of them, they said. Together. At the same time. 2 languages. 1 word. Ji-Hyun sat with this. She looked at the table. She looked at the window. She thought about the last 6 months.
Seoul. Atlanta.
The notebooks. The candidates. The posture entries. The reference letters.
The airport.
The cookout. The stairs. The desk. 3 weeks. She looked at both grandmothers. I'm going to need to know, she said, how much translating this is going to involve. A lot, Grandma Duth said. More than last time? Significantly more, Halmoni said. Ji-Hyun nodded. She picked up her tea. She drank it.
Fine, she said.
Both grandmothers said nothing. They were already planning. In their respective internal notebooks. Cross-referencing silently. The way they always did now. The way they had been doing since October. From the hallway, footsteps. Zara appeared in the kitchen doorway. She looked at the table. At the 3 of them. At the specific quality of quiet that had the shape of a plan inside it. Why are you all smiling? She said. Nobody answered. She looked at Ji-Hyun. Ji-Hyun looked at her tea. Ji-Hyun. Good night, Zara, Ji-Hyun said. What are they planning? I don't fully know yet, but something. Always something. Zara looked at both grandmothers. At the matching expressions. At the calm. The specific calm that came before everything. What? She said. Grandma Duth picked up her tea. Nothing yet, she said. That's what you said in October, Zara said. Halmoni smiled. Fully this time. Not the corner. The whole thing.
Get some sleep, she said.
In English. Clean and exact. Zara looked at them. At the kitchen in Atlanta. At her grandmother, who had rebuilt a family across 24 years of Sunday phone calls, and her grandmother, who had kept the lights on from the other side of the world.
at the notebooks, at the plans, at whatever was coming next. She looked at Ji-Hyun. "Tell me everything the second you find out," she said. "I will be the last to know," Ji-Hyun said. "I know. Tell me anyway." "Good night, Zara." Zara looked at both grandmothers one more time. They looked back, patient, complete, already 10 steps ahead. She went to bed. The kitchen was quiet. The house was quiet. Atlanta was quiet underneath everything. And two grandmothers sat at a kitchen table with their tea and their matching expressions and their plan that was still forming. And whatever it was, whatever was coming next, nobody who knew these two women would dare to say it wasn't going to happen. Because it was going to happen. It was already happening. It was always already happening. And Zara Kim was going to find out about it the exact same way she found out about everything these two produced together. All at once. On a regular morning. When she least expected it. With a phone that was already buzzing. If this story found you in the right place at the right time, tell me about it. Drop your location and the time you're watching in the comments right now. Tell me which grandmother you have. The one with the notebook. The one with the reference letters. The one who calls it observing when everyone can see the curtain. Like this video. Share it with your most chaotic family group chat. Subscribe to this channel because this family is not finished and we are not finished, and part 4 is already forming in the minds of two women in a kitchen in Atlanta who are sitting very calmly, and that should concern all of us. And if you want to be part of this community every single time we drop, the membership is open. Early access. Bonus content. The satisfaction of knowing you were here from the beginning when this family was still figuring itself out. The link is right below. We built this together. We will see you in the next one.